You're probably scrolling through a dozen pallet stackers right now, wondering if any of them will actually make a difference in your warehouse or workshop without bleeding your budget dry. It's easy to feel stuck between a cheap, underpowered unit that breaks after a month and a massive industrial lift that takes up half the floor and costs a small fortune. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, because before you click Add to Cart, you deserve a clear picture of whether this VEVOR electric pallet stacker really fits the job you have in mind. First off, let's talk about the kind of work this machine is built for. The VEVOR model claims a 3,300 pounds load capacity and a max lift height of 130 inches, which on paper puts it in the same league as many mid-size warehouse lift trucks. That makes it an attractive option for anyone who needs to move full pallets of bulk items. Think boxes of canned goods, pallets of hardware, or even heavier shipments of industrial parts up to a typical ceiling height in a small to medium distribution center. If you're a DI enthusiast with a garage-sized storage area, those numbers are more than you'll ever need, but they also mean the unit is larger and heavier than a simple hand pallet jack you might be used to. The first practical thing you'll notice when you unpack the stacker is the adjustable fork width. The range of 8.66 to 31.1 inches lets you accommodate a variety of pallet sizes, which is handy if you sometimes handle Euro-style pallets and other times the standard 48 by 40-inch pallets you see in most U.S. facilities. In real-world use, that flexibility saves you from having to keep two separate machines on hand. However, the adjustment mechanism is manual and requires you to stop, release a safety latch, and slide the forks into the new position before you can start lifting again. In a fast-paced environment where you're switching pallets every few minutes, that extra step can feel like a minor bottleneck. Power is another claim the spec sheet loves to flaunt. The stacker is described as powerful, but what does that translate to on the floor? The electric motor is sized to handle the full 3,300 pounds rating, but users have reported that at the top of the 130-inch lift range, the ascent speed drops noticeably. If you're stacking items that are already near the ceiling, you might find yourself waiting a few extra seconds for each lift, which adds up over a shift. For most small business owners who only need to lift a few pallets per hour, that slowdown won't break the day, but for a busy fulfillment center where every second counts, it could become a hidden cost. Steering on the VEVOR feels intuitive enough once you get the hang of the dual-hand controls. The wheels are wide enough to stay stable on uneven concrete, and the effortless steering that the marketing copy touts does hold up when you're moving a loaded pallet across a smooth floor. The downside appears when you encounter a small ramp or a slightly inclined dock. Because the stacker's center of gravity shifts as the forks rise, the unit can feel a bit top-heavy on a slope, and you'll need to keep the speed low to avoid wobbling. In a facility where ramps are common like loading docks with a 5-degree grade, that could translate into extra caution and slower throughput. One of the selling points VEVOR highlights is the quick setup claim. In practice, you receive the stacker partially assembled. The battery is already installed, the steering column is attached, and the control panel is wired. The remaining steps involve bolting the straddle legs onto the base and securing the fork assembly. For someone with basic mechanical skills, that can be done in under an hour, and the manual walks you through each bolt with clear diagrams. If you lack a workshop or a team that can handle the assembly, you'll need to factor in the time or perhaps hire a technician to get it operational. That initial effort is something many buyers overlook when they focus solely on the purchase price. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the rating. With a 1-star average from 5 reviewers, it's clear that at least a handful of owners ran into serious issues. While we don't have the exact complaints, a low overall rating on an industrial-grade product typically points to reliability problems, perhaps the battery dying prematurely, the motor overheating, or the control electronics failing under regular use. Those are the kinds of hidden trade-offs that can turn an upfront savings into a costly replacement or repair bill. If you're planning to run the stacker daily for years, you might want to weigh the risk of a short lifespan against the lower price tag. So who should consider buying this VEVOR stacker? If you run a small warehouse, a boutique fulfillment operation, or a workshop that only occasionally needs to lift full pallets, and you're comfortable handling a bit of manual fork adjustment and don't need blazing fast lift speeds, this could be a cost-effective entry point. Its adjustable forks, decent load,